matter? Why do I find myself possibly flutterbugging or just sort of lost in space, not really focused on the things that I know matter, and I don't even know why? Well, I'm going to share with you some things that you might realize, and there might be some things that you don't realize that you're doing. And remember, as always, as I'm sharing these things, I don't want you to beat yourself up. I want you to extend yourself some love and some grace, because all of us are guilty of participating in some of these activities. It's just that maybe you've been overindulging and you might be excessive, and it's time to bring yourself back to what you know is true for you and to focus on your highest priorities. So sometimes when we're not focused on our highest priorities, it's because we're gripped with fear, always in a constant state of worry. And that's usually because of some things that have gone on with us in our lives. But oftentimes what I'm finding most people are doing in today's age is we're taking in all kinds of information through social media, through the news, through the people that we're connected with. Toxic information all day long. And what does that do to us? It releases cortisol in our bodies. It releases all kinds of chemicals in our brains, and we become stagnant and worried about everything all the single time that we can't move. The second reason why sometimes we're not focused on our highest priorities is because we don't trust ourselves. Maybe we went through a traumatic event, or maybe we tried something in the past and we failed, and so we don't want to take any more risks. Another reason why some of us may not be focused on our highest priorities is because we may unknowingly be participating in what's called the shiny object syndrome. Now, that actually is a syndrome that many people who have diagnosed ADHD participate in, but many of us do not have ADHD, yet we find ourselves just unknowingly blowing in the wind to the right and blowing in the wind to the left. And a shiny object happens and we sort of focus on that. And then if, another shiny object over here, and then we're focused over here. We are continually focusing on new trends, new ideas, and all kinds of things that causes distraction, overwhelm, stress, and a lack of focus. And we often find ourselves just kind of going through life unconscious, once again, blowing in the wind. Whatever's going on over here, that's what we focus on. Whatever going on over here, we focus over here. And that's because we don't have our goals and our purpose or our vision to ground us, to bring us back to what I like to always refer to as our own North Star. Sometimes too, obviously what goes along with that in these days and times is that we're focused on social media. I remember when I had a Facebook account, I took my phone to the bathroom and I'd be scrolling and I'd be liking and I'd be watching videos while I'm in the bathroom trying to do my business. And when I realized that technology had become my master and not my servant, I was like, oh, I gotta fix this because I'm fixated on being plugged in. I had FOMO. We all know what FOMO is. Fear of missing out. So I'm constantly looking at my phone, checking things, liking things, and there was no reason for me to spend that much time on checking social media. Now, I want to emphasize this. It's not that checking your social media is bad. It's when whatever you're doing is excessive and it overwrites or overtakes the things that you should be doing, and you find yourself off track because you're excessive in doing that specific activity or task each day. Oftentimes, too, one of the reasons why we're unfocused is because we're focusing on other people's problems. Now, there are problems that are urgent that some of the people in our lives have. They might be sick. Maybe they had really a truly urgent thing that happened, such as a blown tire. Maybe they had a flood in their house. Maybe one of their loved ones died, right? Maybe they just are going through a bad breakup or a bad divorce and they need support. But I got to tell you that most of the time, once again, because we're just flutterbugging in the wind, anyone can call us with anything at any specific time, and off we go, right? So your friend Sally calls and says, oh, Rover, the dog, has diarrhea. I don't know why that's coming to me, but I just thought that was funny and I can't get away from it for this video. I've tried to find other examples, so just humor me here. So Rover has diarrhea. Off we go. Oh, okay, so what's going on with Rover? We got to go to this store, and you should get this medicine, and let's get online, and let's go to PetWebMD or whatever it is, and we find ourselves spending time all day long in other people's problems. They're not even urgent, or they may not even be important. And we're going to define what important means, because one of the things that's going to be key for you when we talk about focusing on your highest priorities is identifying what does important mean. So hang on, because we are going to go there. Another reason why we may not be focused on our highest priorities, and this is the last one, because I could go on and on and on, but I want to give you some of the common ones that you may be engaging in and you just may not know. So one of the other things that, I find really interesting is many of us, again, because we're flutterbugging unknowingly, that we have this sense of wanting to appear like we're actually productive, but we're actually not. And usually, again, it's because we don't have our highest priorities defined and we're not going after it. And so that does feed our ego. It feeds a part of us that wants to be needed. It feeds a part of us that wants to feel valued. It feeds a part of us that wants to be acknowledged. And all those things are important. We should want those things. And it's part of our human nature to actually have those things. However, there are areas in our lives that we have not addressed where we actually are needed and we actually need to show up in that we haven't been doing. And I want to challenge you today that this may be, somewhat provoking you, or dare I use the word triggering you, and you might be going, dang, Rainey, you're really going in today. It's because, as always, I want you to be better, and I want you to recognize some of the things that you're doing, as well as, let me be honest, you might be around people, and oftentimes we are, who won't tell you those things because they're codependent with you. They like to have you engaging in the shiny key syndrome or the shiny object syndrome. They like when you're focused on their problems. They like when you're always on social media and you have all these things that you're talking about, these mindless activities that you're engaged in all day long. I'm here, and I think you're here because you're ready to make a change. As always as well, my friend, I want you to remember that it's going to be a baby step that I really want you to be after. If you like what you're hearing, please like this video and consider subscribing. So let's now talk about how to focus on achieving your highest priorities. And let's first identify, as I said we would, and define what does important mean as it relates to your highest priorities. Things that are important have great significance or value. They're likely to have a profound effect on your success, your survival, and your overall well-being. Those are the things that are important. So how do you know what your highest priority should be? How do you know what's important? Well, again, you tie them back to your mission, your purpose, or your vision. It's all about being deliberate and intentional and actually planning, literally planning and scheduling those activities. So I'll give you an example about myself. Health actually has become, and not that it wasn't, but as I get older, a super high priority for me. So what do? I don't wait until I have time. I make the time to go to the gym. I make the time to go to the store, and I have my grocery list about, yes, there's some things that I want to eat, of course, but overall, the things that are going to fuel my body are the things that I focus on. I make time and I plan those things because I know if I don't, I'm going to pick up all kinds of things that are not in aim of the goal that I actually want to accomplish. So let's think about our everyday life. So this cup represents our everyday life, and I'm going to show you what happens to most of us when we don't have a plan, and why I'm telling you, whether it's getting an app, whether it's using your phone, whether it's getting a physical planner. I have friends that actually have a physical calendar that they carry around. Whatever works for you, you're going to have to schedule it. You're going to have to schedule it. You know why? This is what happens to us every day. We wake up in the morning, and before we even open our eyes, our kids might be calling for us, or our pets might be calling for us. And then our spouses might need something. And, here they are asking for things. And then, of course, we've got to get ourselves ready. So we have to spend time getting ourselves ready. We've got to, get the car ready. We've got to make breakfast. We've got to put on our clothes. And then we go to work, or we have our business that we go to. And we are engaged in those activities all day long. So we're at work all day long. We have our lunch break. And then we are busy about our day. Then we come home and we have to make dinner, right? We have to drive home, make dinner. And then this is not even including some of the activities that you have to do on your lunch hour. Go to the cleaners, run errands, maybe go food shopping. Maybe if you're a student, you're studying. You have all these things that you're doing. Maybe it's catching up with a good friend. That's super, super important. And so we find ourselves doing these things. And so we leave work, or we leave our jobs, and here we are, and it's dinner time. And so now we're at dinner time, we're with our loved ones, and of course we have to give them their attention. So we're giving them their attention, we're watching maybe TV, maybe we're playing games with our family, and we are getting ready for bed, spending time with our partners, spouses, children, pets, and that is our day. Now, notice how full your day is. You haven't touched not one of the goals or one of the things that you said were important for you to do. Think of these nuts are things that you were supposed to do, or that you said you were going to do, but your day resulted in this, which happens to all of us. So you might be going, oh, okay, at 8 o'clock at night, oh, I was supposed to go to the gym, and oh, I was supposed to make that doctor's appointment, and oh my gosh, I was supposed to call my good friend about something that's really important, this conversation that I need to have. And oh, I was supposed to call my mom. Notice the day is over, and all of these things have spilled over. They're spilling over, and they're not accomplished because our cup is already full. Our cup was full before we even started talking about these things. And then we beat ourselves up. We start all over the next day by doing the same thing over and over again. But I'm going to give you a different way to approach your day. Again, we talked about the importance of intentionality. So now I want you to think about your life with all the things that you've got to do, all the things that you have to do, but instead of waiting until the end of the day, you schedule them first. So we're not foregoing our responsibilities and focus solely on us. We're baking them in. We're integrating all of our important tasks and highest priorities into our day. So maybe this represents the fact that you're on the PTA and you have to attend a meeting. And this represents maybe a church activity, or activity that you were going to do that's spiritually related. Maybe you were going to meditate that day or do yoga. And again, we have all those things that are still happening, but we're getting our most important, highest priorities completed. And so maybe we have our date night with our partner, or we're scheduling it, right? And so forth and so on. So again, This cup now is not only filled with unimportant tasks, it's filled with tasks that are on track with what your goals are and what you meant to accomplish. You know, I love a quote that Robin Roberts shared a couple of weeks ago in this training I was in. The quote that she said was, "Discipline yourself so that no one else has to." I thought that that was so powerful. And it was kind of like, oh man, Robin, I didn't really want to hear that. But it's true. Because if you don't have the discipline, if you don't exercise the discipline to put yourself first and to put your highest priorities first, my friend, you are going to continue to waste time. Your life is a result of the things that you consistently do. So if you consistently do nothing, there was a song that used to say, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You will have nothing in the long term. And I know that's not what you want, because you're here today wanting to learn how to get better. So if you like what you learned today, please like this video, consider subscribing, and tell a friend. Also, I have 2 fun questions that I want you to answer in the comment section. One, I want you to tell me which movie and who said this quote as it relates to time. Who has time? Who has time? But then if we do not ever take time, how can we ever have time? Anonymous. But you're going to tell me in the comments section who actually said this quote and what movie it's from. As well as the second question I want you to think about is, what's one unimportant activity or task that you're willing to spend less time doing this week? Again, we're not talking about boiling the ocean. We're not talking about undoing every aspect of your life. It's going to take time. All the things that we've been doing all along have brought us to where we are today. And so where we want to go tomorrow is going to take us some time as well. But we can get there, and we will get there step by step. I know these gems blessed you in some way today. And so until next time, take care, be well, and God bless.